Josh, you mentioned you've got a lot of different automations. You said you got a couple hundred, I think, or like 100 or something like that.
Yeah,
That's a significant amount, right?
Yeah,
Whatever that is.
yeah,
all on Home Assistant
Uh,
Green.
all in
y
Home
yeah.
Assistant Green, which is pretty impressive for that little box. Um, how like so how do you quantify like how much time you're saved? What is all of this actually netted you?
Yeah. Yeah, so I just pulled it up. I have 187 automations in Home Assistant Green
Wow,
that
wicked.
are
Nice.
running. There's probably a couple that are disabled right now, but for the most part, they're running pretty frequently. And some of it's more straightforward. You leave the house and something happens when everybody's gone, that type of thing. But I've utilized some of these to really save us a lot of time. And I recently did calculations on how much time we're really saving, and it really blew me away with the amount of time because I just never thought that our smart home would save us, the level that it has. And some of them are probably a little more straightforward. Like you have the robot vacuum and mop. We have Narwhal, which has not ever integrated for me with Home Assistant. And I'm looking at other options to try to address some of that because that's one thing I really would like to see that would integrate with Home Assistant. But just the fact that it vacuums and mops, I've realized that that saves us a significant amount of time. We have about 2,000 square feet per level of our house, and then we have two levels that are pretty much all finished. So I estimate, and we have a German Shepherd Golden Retriever dog, mix. So he sheds a lot. So we need to run the vacuum all the time. So I figure that we use it 3 times a week approximately. Twice upstairs and then once in the basement, and it would take us a couple hours until we would actually do the vacuuming and mopping every time during those periods. And I will say upstairs we actually vacuum and mop with the Narwhal every day. Every day we'll set it and it'll run, and it always has dog hair and everything else. But it does a good job. So just if we ran it 3 times a week, I was saying that we'd save about 300 hours a year just on that one particular automated home product.
Wow.
And that one isn't in Home Assistant, but we have several others that are. The other big one where we save a lot of time is in Home Assistant, and that's automating the smart plugs and smart switches. A lot of
Right.
these I have them integrated within Home Assistant via Zigbee, motion sensors or presence sensors. So what I'll have it do is basically a triangulation of where are people actually at, and then if you're in an area, that area lights up plus an adjacent area, particularly in the basement area where we have the soda machine. If you walk into that area, we have a pool table there, and then it'll light up like the bar area, it'll light up a hallway and everything adjacent. Um, the one that actually pushed me to do this originally was we have a stairway there, and there's a door at the top of the stairway. And what I found myself doing consistently was going up and down the stairs in the dark. And it's in the basement, so there's no natural light or anything. And I realized that my kids were doing it as well. I'm like, one of us is going to fall down these darn steps for no reason at all. So I was like, how do
Absolutely.
I, yeah, what do I need to do here? So what I did was install Lutron cassetta switches, and then I think it might even be it's either a Cara or some old Iris, motion and open close sensor. So that door, if it's open or the motion was detected, if either of those have occurred in I don't know the last 5 or 10 minutes, whatever it is, it keeps those lights on. Because I would find
Right.
myself trying to carry something up the stairs, so my hands would be full, and I'm like, I can't turn off the light at the top of the steps, and I'm not coming back.
Yeah.
So I walk up in the dark, which is stupid. So now
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
you open the door or you walk in that area, it automatically lights up, it handles it, it turns it back off when you need it to. And I realized that when I look across all of the automations that I have that do this for either smart switches, basements, hallways, that type of thing, our master bathroom, we have smart switches in there that are motion sensor, including in the master shower. We have like a walk-in shower, and we have a light and a fan in that area, and we have a motion sensor that also detects humidity. So it monitors humidity, and as long as the humidity is above a certain level or it had motion within a certain amount of time, it stays on. And then once it gets outside of those requirements, it actually turns itself off. Because in the past we would just turn off the fan when we left the room, but the humidity could still be high. So it just monitors it. We don't have to touch it, and it knows what to
Yeah.
do. We also have the fish lights that we turn on and off, and the dehumidifiers that we turn on and off at different times. And I realized over the course of a week, we had over 3,500 instances of on or off from one of these automations that we have set up in Home Assistant. So what I did was I actually dug into the data and I said, for these devices, give me on or off that occurred. And these devices we only have automated because we don't actually like go into those areas otherwise. Or if we do,
Yeah.
we don't need to ever turn them on or off because it is just automated. And some of the things like dehumidifiers, it's a smart plug behind it. Nobody's ever touching that thing. So
Yeah.
it does the same thing. So I was just blown away by the fact that we had 3,500 of these instances a week once we pulled down the data. And I was just estimating that we have, 5 seconds a time because some of the switches, maybe you're walking by and you can hit them. But in other instances, you might have to walk across the room to hit it. Or I told you
Yeah.
initially, our electrician maybe wasn't always bought into smart home ideas and that type of thing. I told him what I wanted for our switches when we built our house, but he didn't exactly do that. So in our kitchen area, we have some like ceiling lights, and to turn all those on or off, you have to go to 4 different locations in our kitchen. So we have a lot of instances where the wiring just doesn't make a lot of sense, even though the house isn't that old. Just maybe didn't follow directions. So in that instance, you're not hitting more than one at a time. You're going across the room, and those actually aren't even automated with these automations. So those aren't even counting, but that's another example of where you're going outside of your normal walkway to even get to those. So with 5 seconds an instance and 3,500 times a week, that came out to almost 250 hours a year that I've been saving with my smart home from smart switches and smart plugs, which I couldn't believe once I ran all the numbers. Like that's just it's
Wow.
insane to me.